I am DJ IDeaL, and for the next hour, we're going to be diving into the art of DJing and performing with effects on the Pioneer 900 Nexus. I want to give a big ups and huge thanks to Dance Music Initiative, Make Music Alliance, NAM, and the Electronic Music Alliance for making this possible. And to you for tuning into my first class live ever, coming to you live from the Turnmill Studios in New York. So let's see, to kick things off, I feel like I got to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been DJing for close to 20 years, and really since I can remember, effects have been a big part of like what's tickled me to make DJing that much more fun. As time has gone by, I've DJed through to see the evolution of these effects machines, the mixers, the capabilities of the FX units, and how they keep on expanding. Even more so with external effects machines like the Remix 1000, which I highly recommend you check out after this video. So to me, effects really, they allow you to give more life to the song. What I mean by that is like, let's say that all you have is, you have a kick beat going, and with a delay or an echo, you're able to change the rhythm, maybe like bounce a little more, really do whatever you want. Or let's say you're rocking a big, large crowd and you want to make it totally just silent during a peak time of the night. You could take the filter and pass it down low and, why not? Make them get loud. You can hear the crowd go crazy. And I mean, the real question isn't like, why not? Because it gives you that control. Like control that I think as a DJ, you really got to respect, and as you have that control, not get too crazy with it. I remember back in the day, one time when I was starting to DJ, I would get a little crazy with the effects. And I was playing this place called Bacchus After Hours years back in San Diego. And the promoter, Mel, pulled me over and said, you know what, I really enjoy your sets, but sometimes you get a little too crazy with them. And that sort of like reality check, I always remember that because now I try to keep myself in tune so that I don't get too crazy with it, So yeah, I suggest that you get creative, be subtle, play with the effects so that they sound like they're part of the song, but also try to test out many varieties, combinations, and many more than possible. Like go beyond whatever what we do today. But most of all, have fun. So let's get to it. To kick things off, I suggest that you try and condition yourself to always go through all the effects and change the settings for the timing so that it's according to whatever you're used to. So right now, I'll go through all the effects that we're going to go through. We're going to be going through the delay. So I'd set my timing up here to a halftime. I go to echo, go to halftime, maybe 3/4. Spiral, we'll go to 1. Reverb, we'll keep it at 25%. Transpose, we'll do halftime. Filters, maybe we'll do 4/1, maybe 8/1. For the flanger, there's a variety of timings that I really love to use, but we'll go all the way to the top to do a full 64 count. And a big thing about the beat timers here, this is also a resetter for whenever you're playing with the effects. So if you actually have it on and you do double tap on both the buttons at the same time, you're going to reset the timer. So after that, we'll go to the phaser. So we'll do 4/1 for this right now. Robot, let's do 26. Melodic, we'll go 33 right now. Slip roll, we'll do quarter time. Roll, we'll do halftime. Reverse roll, let's do a full count. And that's it for that. So we got those timings set. And now I was saying, you have the option also to do auto or tap. I personally recommend that you keep it on auto. I know that many people think that their timing is on point and they can get it and tap it into what they feel works best. But you're not going to get it better than the computer. And that's just the reality. So I suggest you do auto. If you want to mess around with tap away. But, just watch out. And also quantize. So you want to quantize your sound color effects. You don't have to, but again, it makes your sounds and your effects a lot smoother and more natural to what the timing of a properly produced track would be. So let's see. Where are we got here? So there, we're going to start off here with the delay. We did those. So yeah. So tonight we'll be going through the effects available on 900. This also transitions over to the 800 and the 700 and the Nexus 2. Even the smaller ones that are like the 2-channel ones that are basic. For the most part, it comes down to your timing. Your timing is key, and how intense you go with your level of your depth when you go in also matters. And also keeping track of your EQs. When you're using effects, sometimes if you have your volume all the way to the top for your actual channel, it might become a little too loud, and so you'll have to bring it down a bit if you're watching your red lines up here. Always watch your red lines. So let's see if we have the YouTube chat going, in case you guys have any questions. Go. So yeah, just shoot over any questions that you may have, and I'll try to reach out to them. Over here. All right. So the first one that we're going to start with is the delay. I got delay on master. You can also have it a delay on your main channel that you're doing it, but for the most part, the effects will write out better. And even when you do cuts on your volume with your echo, if you have it on your master, the effect will continue. If you have it on your actual channel, it'll just cut when you cut. So let's kind of show you what that is. For the delay track, I'm actually going to be using this track called Dance Floor, which is not released yet. It's mine and my homie Susio. Susio from out in San Diego. So what's up, Susio? Hopefully you're tuning in. Check this out. On the dance floor. You find me. We're going to set it on halftime right here just for the mess around with the vocal. See how it cuts it out? I'll put it on master. So as you can see, when you have it on master, it allows you to kind of like delay out the effect a lot nicer and smoother instead of just having it get cut out, especially if you're doing the effects on the channel by itself and not mixing it in with the track. Change the timing to 3/4 now. All right, so as you can see there, I changed the timing in between the settings and messing with the volume, just so you could hear what it sounds like with different timings. I'm gonna do a full count as well now. Delays work great with vocals too. So those are fun because sometimes you're able to create an additional build up to your actual mix as you're going with it. Just kind of what I did right there. Something else that's kind of fun to play with is the X pad. Delay sometimes, but it's up here and you're able to slide around as opposed to tapping away at your timing. So up next is we're going to go into the echo. So this was a delay. The delay essentially is duplicating the signal for whatever timing you're setting it at. So when you're doing a halftime, you're going to duplicate or delay that half count sample that loops itself. With echo, it doesn't just loop it once, it actually creates a delay effect. Well, yeah, something fun about the XDJ, I don't know if they touched on it earlier, but the top right here, your vinyl speed, allows you to basically make the CDJ into kind of like a turntable, especially if you have it on vinyl mode. So if you scratch in, scratch out, or if you want to make it sound like the turntable is turning off, you can. So for the next one for echo, we're going to be starting with Keeper, a track by myself and Lady Verse, for which it was pretty fun to do. You should go check out the music video too. It was pretty rocking. So we're going to be doing the echo with this. Something that's pretty fun to do with echo is utilizing your EQs, which are up here, as you have your depth higher or lower. You can go in and out, playing with it to, like I was saying earlier, make the track sometimes kind of bounce, and the people bounce. So here's Keeper with Lady Verse. We'll start with it at halftime this time. Three quarters now. So I cut out the bass there, and I was affecting the mid levels. So something that you got to be aware of when you're messing around with the echoes is to keep track of your own track and being on time. You don't want to overdo it and then bring it off and have the track already come back, or maybe the buildup was already dropped and you came in a little bit late. That doesn't always go over too well with the crowd because you kind of make them anticipate it and then you don't drop it at the same time. Right there with the one kind of just keep looping the same one, the more intense you go in with the level. So when you keep it up in the middle at 12 o'clock, you have an equal effect and normal output. If you go all the way to max, you actually end up going to the full output of the echo. And you're actually now, whatever count you were, you're off. And a fun one to do with the echo, to do any outro, is like people know who know me that DJ, to do the backspin. I love that delay. So for that, you got to make sure to match the count that you're going to be doing. So if I have the echo at a full count 1/1, my backspin sound should try and be about that timing. Because if you do any over or less, it can kind of go off. The spiral effect, it typically works better on like breakdowns, vocal buildups. Not too much with the beat going because it can get a little confusing. And especially on the dance floor, you want to keep the rhythms always going at the same pace as you're building up with another track. So this track that we're going to be playing next here is going to be Alright. It's unreleased by Redux Saint. So with the spiral, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to start it off at 2/1, and then as I build it up, I bring it down, bring it down to a shorter count.
Everything's gonna be alright.
Why not mess around with the echo a little too? All right, so here we go. So I'm gonna turn it on 2/1 and then slightly increase it as I increase the level depth. And you'll hear it automatically kind of on its own start building up. Increasing. There you heard the spiral go up on top of a filter track. So it's kind of like creating your own breakdown to allow the spiral to spiral. Mini spiral over the vocal breakdown right there. I'm going to do the spiral and then use the X pad to go higher. That was all right. All right, that's fun. So the next one, I don't know if you saw. So I'll explain that. So the spiral after the sound had already ended or the song ended, it keeps getting stuck on that little loop, and so it just keeps going spiral, 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 spiral. And I kept decreasing the timing over here to the lowest possible, and then it freezes there at 10 milliseconds. And so I just kept going in and out on the level and depth down here. So the next one is we're going to go into reverb. Reverb can be really fun to use at breakdowns to create a large room effect right before the drop comes in. It can also be a good way to mix with the filter, which we'll go into later. And it's good even during the main body of a track. If pumped in right, sometimes you can create a white noise effect, not like the noise effect, which is different. So for this example, we're going to be using Cricket's unreleased track, Understand. Cricket from the Slightly Sizzled Fan. What's up? Check it out.
It's a spiritual thing. A body thing. A soul thing.
I'm going to start with reverb at 25%. Let's do 40, 50.
Not everyone understands house music. It's a spiritual thing. A body thing. A soul thing.
So I'm going to use the reverb here during the track itself at 25%.
Not everyone understands house music.
Do that reverb.
It's a spiritual thing. A body thing. Not everyone understands.
Go a little higher to 75%. We'll do 60.
It's a spiritual thing. A body thing. A soul thing.
Quite simple of an effect, but it can really do something big. If you mix it in with, say, a dub echo or a little crush, it can add that much more of an effect. Let's crush it. So the reverb, try not to overuse it. This is just for example. And fade out. All right, so there's your reverb. Have lots of fun with that one. The next one that we go to is transpose. So transposing is kind of like a sidechain or a cut up of your track, depending on what the timing you go with. Because a lot of dance music tends to work on the 4/4/8 counts, keeping it on anything equal to those parameters, like a half or a quarter, will work great. If you go anywhere off of that, it's just going to sound weird. So let's start with the transpose at 1/1 on the count. And this time we're going to use the homies Mitch, Dodge, and Susio with the track LMK, Let Me Know. So here we're going to go transpose at 1/1. So it's going to sound kind of weird because it's on the count. I had it at 12 o'clock, so that means it'll be an even amount of effect versus the main track. So here I'll lower it a little bit so that the transpose is not as obvious. kind of pumping the track.
I said, I don't see you at the bank. People gotta live their life and do their thing.
Halftime. Quarter.
Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me.
So now I'm gonna do the quarter at a much higher, we'll say 2 o'clock, so you can really hear the transposing. And this time we'll just put it on max, so that's all you hear. That just kind of worked on its own, so good job, Pioneer.
I said,
Transpose at 1/8. It's kind of gargly.
let me be me. He said, I said,
And it actually matters when you cue it in. So if you create the transpose at an off count, it'll transpose at an off count.
see you at the bank. People gotta live their life and do their thing. Let me live, let me breathe, let me be me.
So you're basically pumping the track, as you can tell. Try not to do it when the track is actually going. It's more for like audio and vocal effects.
He said, let me be me.
The turntable is off. All right, so up next, we're gonna go into the filter effect. And we're gonna be using Bang Bang, the track by myself and my homie Memo Rex, another amazing producer, DJ, singer, performer. He actually just did a live set for our Enter the Tech TV series that you can go check out on our Twitch or YouTube or Facebook, I believe, too. So Enter the Tech, check it out. That's if you like underground parties and raves and stuff like that. So this track's Bang Bang, unreleased as well. You may have heard it at a couple of parties of ours, but check it out. Bang Bang. And here, being that it's just a kick, we're going to do a little bit of fun with the filter. The filter is going to be basically passing through from high to low or low to high, depending on what you set it. I'm doing this so you can hear what the filter is doing. Just leaving it on. So now at 3 o'clock, almost at max, just so you can hear the filter filtering. And now as I decrease the timing or make it quicker, you'll hear the filter cutting up more. Quicker. This is one that you can reset with pressing the 2. Like my laser beams. I'm gonna do a much longer filter right here, going up to 8/1. Keeping it at 9 o'clock so it's not too dominating. As you can see there, I tapped it on and I tapped it off instead of cutting it down to the level of low. But you actually are able to create a more impactful cut of the filter when you do that. Going up to 64/1 so you can hear the full filter at the longest possible. If you want to have fun with it during the track or even the breakdown, we can go a little bit shorter, like back. Kind of like a little build up, but still, again, goes back to timing. Right now, I'm basically freestyling all this for you guys, and but as you get more custom with your techniques and your timing, then you'll be able to get these much more on point. So practice. The acid. 8/1 filter once again, taking us into the end of the track. Next pad. Longer filter with X-Pad play around. And we're back. All right, track number 7. We're going with Hot Pursuit by Ladyverse and my boy Scott. Bo Scott. This track came out pre-Miami, pre-Corona. You should have heard it in Miami if you're going to be there. So let's see. We're going to be using the flanger for this one. A fun thing to do or to create your own non-digital flanger. If you had 2 records or 2 tracks loaded, you could start both of them at the same time, make sure that the tempos are matched. And if you moved one just slightly, say the left deck a little slower, you would initiate a little bit of a flanger. And then by adjusting it forward or back to make it closer or further apart, you will create the swoosh effect that the flanger does. So the flanger, another one that I like to do when the build-ups are coming, when you're at a breakdown and the build-up is coming, I go to the longest setting possible, which is at 3200. And then as I see the build-up coming closer, I cut it in half every 8 count or so, depending on how long the track is. So I'll do that during one of these breakdowns. But the flanger really can be used any time of the track. Just don't overdo it. Make sure it sounds like the track is part of the track, like the filter is part of the track. So this is Hot Pursuit by Bo Scott featuring Ladyverse.
Real wide, tend to be nice every once in a while, but tonight it's not what I'm looking for. To get through the door, get on the dance floor. I like them tall but not too skinny. I like them thugged out but not too gritty. Don't misunderstand, cause you're not gonna hit it, but if you got rhythm, we can dance for a minute.
We're gonna go 32/1.
Down the road, I see See you dancing all alone, cause the other girls are too afraid to take you on. Please, baby, not trying to lead you on, just trying to get a move on.
That added and helped with the build up / going into the drop. Flanger is also one that you can tap in by hitting both the beat buttons and you reset the filter of the effect.
Talk me the right thing to say, and when he walk me, my hips wanna sway. So keep on walking and talking this way, because it's Friday night and the stick come out for play now. Party kicks off, hot stack, you wanna have a good time, take notes and watch. I woke up to the bar and I ordered 3 shots for the fire in my belly. That hit the spot, and in just a few minutes I feel this right to get my ass on the floor, sweat it out to daylight. Watch it, hypnotized, so you get back the time, my damn girl. How the sun so bright, so ladies grab a man, make him understand that there's only one person that you can out tonight.
On. For this next one, I'm going to take it all the way to the longest setting possible. I go with the beat counter and then on the timing, the manual, to go all the way right as much as possible to 3200. And then right when the breakdown starts, I turn it on. And I'll cut it down in time, and then I'll double beat it to make it more intense. Like so.
What I'm all about, then drop the beat, and I'ma dance till the stars go out. I'ma dance till the stars go out. Keep dancing till the stars go out. Always be rocking it without a doubt.
Show you what you got with my flanger. So if I double tap it, it resets it. Up next, we are going to go into the phaser. Phaser is a lot like the filter. It just has a little bit less of the swoosh, and it really affects more on the higher end. For this one, we're going to go with this track called "No One Listens" by Daka. Daka is a little alien that came from outer space to basically take over and help out the destruction of dance music because it was going downhill. And so Daka Records was founded based on that. You should go check them out. And for this one, we're going to be using the phaser. There you go. That's the phaser on right away. This one's good to use during build-ups as well. You gotta be careful with the timing because the sound is very, very obvious. Right there, what I did is I was cutting down on the timing while also affecting the X pad to alter the parameters. I'm exaggerating there so you can hear what it does. Right now I'm just going to do it as if I was actually mixing. All right. So that was the phaser. For the melodic, let's see. We're going to be going with Crystal Skies' Feels Right. So the Crystal Skies are guys, these duo that are amazing producers. And when I met them, they actually had never DJed before. I ended up giving them some lessons for a couple of weekends, and they've been doing great. I highly recommend you check them out. They're doing some amazing stuff with Seven Lions, and I believe recently they just announced they were going to do some live stream from an actual stage. So you should go check them out, Crystal Skies. For this one, we're going to be using their track to go with the melodic. With the melodic.
What am I to say? What am I to do with all of this chaos? Something in the air or something in my head is making this dangerous. Too close to the fire, don't wanna get burned. No. Drawn into your light, it's obvious that I don't wanna change us. And I can't explain what's been happening. Never felt this way before. The way we fit together perfectly. When I'm in your arms, I'm where I wanna be. Had a heart, but you're the missing piece. I feel like I've been waiting my whole life. I finally found somebody who feels right.
So I'm exaggerating there so you can see what that track does. I mean, what the melodic does. Essentially, it's picking out little bits of tunes that from the melody and amplify/cutting them. And if you really go high, it distorts out of proportion, which I'll do right now.
Star that I wanna wish on. Know that it's the truth, it's leading.
Melodic. That's still the same track. And back to the track.
I wanna be.
Personally, I'm not really sure where or when you'd want to use that. I don't personally use it that much, but that's melodic.
I feel like I've been waiting my whole life.
All right, so the robot, with robot we can use it here as well. Robot actually can work with the microphone too. I don't know if we want to do that. We can.
So, this is still me talking, but I now sound like a cool little robot machine. I sound kind of peaceful. If I go higher, I sound a little more alien-like.
If I go really high and I'm still speaking the same, sounds kind of cool. Kind of cool, man, cool. Yeah.
So this is a robot for you.
I don't know if you want to do that for your kidnapping or your next hijacking, since we all get to wear masks nowadays. But this works pretty good too. Yeah.
All right, so that's the robot for you. You can use it on acapellas, vocals, scratches. I don't really think you'd want to use that anytime during an actual track. But if you figure it out and you find one that thinks pretty cool, do it, send it over. Let's listen to it. So next, we're going to be going into the slip roll. We got 15 minutes to go. So let's see if I can go through everything as planned. Slip roll, we're going to be using another DACA Records track. DACA did a track with featuring Rick Ross, recently released this year. And we're going to use that right now. This is Burnin' by Daka featuring Rick Ross. We're going to go through slip roll. The slip roll is like the roll, but one that slips. So the slip feature is also on the CDJ, the other CDJs as well. And what it allows it to do is essentially it rolls or loops whatever timing setting you put. And as you change the timing or on the X pad setting, the effect or sample continues to move forward, meaning that whatever you're looping will re-loop, and as you cut out, the track is still going with that same wherever the preset timing was supposed to be. Hopefully I explained that right. So let's do that with Burnin'. Slip roll right now on the melody here. 1/1.
No pissing in hedges. I started with Reggie. I'm talking asparagus. I'm here. I'm hitting it blowing. 7 bottles of Moet. Credit. Bottles had to go back.
I'm going to go slip roll 1/2 or a halftime, and then I'm going to cut down with the X pad.
No use embarrassed. I smoke like a chalice. I'm burning that kush. They could smell me in Dallas. It's nothing small as an O. I'm just keeping it G. I might swap you with blow. I'm burning it.
All timing. That's what you don't do. I just messed around at the end. But that's what you can do also with the CDJ turntable effect. So the slip roll, it can get really fun, but just remember again, don't overdo it. Just like anything, even milk. So let's see. We're getting down to the last 10 minutes. We're going to go into the roll, just like the slip roll, but you don't really have that ability to have the effect roll around. So once you do that, once you turn it on, it starts that loop, and that's what you're stuck with. For this one, we're going to go with this track called Fiverr. Well, that was the original name, but now it's Horn Alarm. This is an unreleased of mine. We're going to be rolling with this one. Roll it. Here we're on a full count roll, on a 1 count roll, so it's all you can get in that same loop. You can cut it in half if you want. Another half. And another half. And another half. And another half. And go down, 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 down. So that would have obviously worked better if that was a build up at a breakdown, but I did that on purpose so you can see what it can do. Now we'll do a roll as if it was part of the track. There's my little scratch on a roll. My scratch on a roll. Oh, look at me. Look at me. Faking. Don't fake your scratches. That's just for an example. So there's your roll. You're basically looping your loop. For our last track, we're going to be doing a combination of things because we're out of effects. So now we're going to go to the sound color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this track and I'm going to utilize the reverse roll while mixing it with the space and the dub echo. So I guess the camera decided to turn sideways, but you can still see what I'm doing. So just turn your head a little bit. Now I'm going to mix the echo with the space and filter. Echo with space. Space, you're basically creating white noise effect, but enlarging the sound. Here we'll go with some noise. Crush mode is pretty on point. You got to get on your half times and your quarter times for the most part. You can do long extended crushes like this. And the filter is a high pass or low pass. Sometimes it's good to just start it already on all the way in high pass, and then you cut back into normal. Like this. Or you can go downwards. But it's all about the timing. You're gonna go and cut into a breakdown to a vocal or something like that, or a little special cut. You gotta be on point. This time we'll do a little dub echo, top left over here. You're essentially creating an echo effect with a bit of the lower end or high end opposite of what you're doing. As you can tell, the timing changes the more that you increment it or lower it. All right. So as we're going to go into our last bits of tracks, let's show you. We're going to show you a little bit of the scratch stuff. So scratching with echo, master on, halftime, it's really fun to manipulate it. So I'm going to keep it at 10 o'clock. I'm going to have it on. I'll just keep the scratches on. You want to have your fader on either channel that you scratch with.
And now
Just that alone sounds cooler than if it didn't have an effect.
Now for my next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
With echo, without echo. With a little bit of echo. Or delay. Echo cutting is pretty fun here. Check it out. You always want to try to either use the filter to cut out the low end or just cut out your bass entirely so that you don't hear a lot of feedback or hitting, especially for those that are doing turntables. So I think that about wraps it up. We're getting to the point of 7 o'clock, and I think we're actually here. So I am DJ IDeaL, and I hope you enjoyed this class on the art of DJing and performing with effects. Once again, huge thanks to Dance Music Initiative, Make Music Alliance, NOM for the opportunity. And to keep up with me, check out my socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, sometimes even TikTok at DJ IDeaL.